time how long we wanted to spend trying to get there, if it was routine or something that needed to be code 3 or close to code 3. And there are ambulances with fuel tanks that are big enough to get you Campbell River to Victoria, you know, really sucking it back. But if you're like me right now, you don't want to be heavy-footed. You want to be smooth and use as little brake as you possibly can. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't use your foot brake. It just means that you want to use your engine to come to a stop, not let the throttle work against you. Racing to get to the intersection, only to come to a stop, and using hills to your advantage if you can. A few times where people we picked up, we would be driving from like, I don't know, Comox to Victoria. Then we'd sit in Victoria for a few minutes and we'd take a patient from Victoria up to Campbell River or Nanaimo, and then we would pick up more patients, either emergency or transfer, and we'd be driving all day. It would be a 12-hour shift, but it's more than likely you're driving for about 10 hours of those. And there are times where you can stop to pick up fuel, but not while you have a patient in the back. So if you're caught between destinations with not enough fuel, you've got to learn how to conserve it. That's not something I learned while driving on car, but I definitely had to pay close attention to it. And just like in NASCAR, you conserve your tires, you conserve your fuel to finish the race instead of making a pit stop. It's the same thing, only on a different scale. So I've been pretty good about conserving my fuel. I'm just watching my gauge now with you because I don't know, something to do. I will probably make it home okay. But yes, definitely a skill that you might have to practice in order to understand and to use effectively. But you don't need to go to school to figure those things out, you know. The more throttle you use, the more gas you use. And there's times where it's well worth putting your foot to the floor to get where you need to go. I have no regrets. And in my personal car, when I don't have a lot of money, I remember stopping at the gas station with my mom, and she'd put $5 in, and it'd be enough to get like a quarter of a tank. Yeah. A few patients we would, have to make the turnaround real quick at a hospital to drop off one patient to pick up another. So maybe I was describing a trip down from Nanaimo to Victoria, back from Victoria up to Campbell River again, or Comox, and then back down the island again with somebody else. Believe me, it's happened. And there's one patient I had where we were lucky to get they kind of call it an intercept, but it's more like, I don't know, just another ambulance coming to take the patient the rest of the way, and yeah, we were right on the line. Like, we are here with this little adventure out to pick up some coffee. Priorities. So at that point, even though that patient wanted to get to where they were going quickly, sometimes the fastest way to get there is just to go slow and steady and be the only ambulance that needs to take that person there, rather than doing all these handoffs. But eventually you need to stop and fuel up, and the vehicles do have limitations, but it's also true for the paramedics. The paramedics need to stop and fuel up. Some paramedics are absolute machines, but later on it'll catch up with you. I did the transfer car for about a year. Well, maybe not, 6 months, and a little bit of that was learning how different it is from regular work as an emergency ambulance attendant, but we got to do lots of those calls too. So the transfer car was special in the way that your transport time might be 2 or 3 hours. It could be 5 hours. Some of the people that other crews have picked up were coming from like Port Hardy and making all the way down to like Nanaimo, something just really, really, really far away. If you drive that all the time, I apologize, but for most people it's quite a ways. And for a patient who's in pain or sick, it's a long time to be in the ambulance. But lots of those small communities, people expect that, and they try to make the most of it. Often the patients are in a better mood than the paramedics, and that's when rural and remote paramedicine is really really good, really worthwhile for people that might be finding it difficult on some days to be at work. But yes, the fuel conservation, I'm not sure that the fuel range on those Chevy vans are as good as they could be, but they're pretty good. They got pretty big fuel tanks, and you top it up every night so you're ready to go in the morning, and by sometime in the afternoon you're already fueling up, because you're probably down to half a tank or so, maybe even a quarter of a tank. When you have that, you don't want it to get too low, because you might have to go to a transfer call, or you're driving, the length of the island, and you can't do that on half a tank. Anyways, that's the logistics of dispatch to keep in mind. But as a ambulance paramedic, it's part of your work to pay attention to that and give people lots of notice if they're running low. And here we are. I'm just tootling home. Toodle pep home. Very, very good on fuel, this little car. But I don't have the most efficient tire and wheel setup, and it is a 4x4, so that might cause a bit of extra mileage, gas mileage. We'll get there. anybody that's got to prioritize when and how they use their vehicle will definitely understand. So people who are good at planning ahead are usually people that would be really good on a transfer car. I really liked it. But not everybody does. And same with the community paramedic job. I really like that, but not everybody likes it. In fact, lots of people hate those things because they think everybody should be regular paramedics, as there is a shortage. But very important services, and I think the nurses appreciate it. If they're going to call people for transfer, I think they do want to call BC Ambulance. And there's a lot of problems with connecting patients to resources out there in their remote communities. So I think CPs are doing good things. Virtual health, that really saves a lot of gas. But it's nice to actually see your patients if you need to. This ain't a BMW. Just going up a hill, so I want to keep my momentum. It's not a steep hill, it's very subtle. We're doing okay. Got lots of fuel, I think, especially when we're pointing uphill. Just kidding. speed limit, sometimes, and in some towns where the lights change real quick, the speed limit's too fast. I'll give you an example. Parksville's lights change real quick. And so you just gotta go slow. That's the kind of town it is. You just take it easy. You know that show, Highway Through Hell? That's a good show. We get quite a bit of snow, but it's not the Coquihalla. Those guys really get it. And, man, I think lots of truckers make it through there just fine. I have a feeling, though, people are pressured to make their deliveries their destinations. You know? Gotta get paid. So they sometimes go when they probably shouldn't go. Show you me checking the fuel in my bike tonight, but that's for me. It's very warm outside. I wouldn't want to be homeless sleeping in a snowbank. Nice thing about driving a manual transmission is that you can control your speed a little bit by using the gears. If you're on an automatic, sometimes a vehicle has good roll and it might seem efficient on the highway, but when you really just need the vehicle to slow itself down without using the brakes or without having to accelerate up to speed after you've come to a full stop, then yeah, I think some of those ambulances are better for the highway. We had this car in Port Renfrew that was diesel, and it was a Ford. It's like a little E350 or E450. It was pretty sweet. It didn't smell good. Some people didn't like that, but I thought it was great. I thought it was set up perfectly for our area with the different hills and corners and bad terrain and some of the logging roads, and it was just stiff enough where you didn't feel that really squishy bounce when you go over top of bumps. For people with bone fractures, I don't know, they might feel it more if you're going gas one, the new gas one, as soon as we got it, we had to get used to it. I mean, at least I did. I get attached to those things, and there's times where people have to just let things go. And one of them is when we get rid of a vehicle. I've had a couple of favorite vehicles with BC Ambulance, and I never knew why I did that, because they're all similar and they're for work. But especially when I was in Port Renfrew, I just got attached to that one that we worked with for like 3 of the 4 years that I was there. Then we got this new one, the soft suspension, gas engine. Yeah, it was a little bit different, but it was real nice on the highway. I think when you're driving truck and you got the big trailers behind you, you want to try and do things in one maneuver. But some of those guys are just really good. They're really good. Maybe one day I'll be good too. And that's it. That is it.